Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Candi Coated Secrets. You know, I am your host with the mostest, Miss Vibrations. Make sure you give me a heart and a thumbs up as soon as you get here. And share the show for me. Tag your friends. I promise you I ain't going to keep you long, but we're going to see how that goes. Because, every time I say I'm not going to keep you long, I end up being here a little longer. But, last week we did pretty good. So, it is Wednesday. How has your day been? How has your week been? What's new with you guys? If you are just now tuning in and watching the show after the live has ended, just type replay down in the comments. Because I want to get into some things tonight, and we're going to get into your perception. Is your perception, working for you, or is it working against you? You know what I mean? So I want you guys to tell me, how do you feel about your perception? What does your perception do for you? All right, so, I got to see y'all join in and give me the hearts and the thumbs up when you get in here to let everybody know. I'm excited. Oh, I meant to bring it here. I forgot, but I have the books. Matter of fact, I think I might step off for a second and get the books for everybody. But like I said, I am excited. March, can y'all believe March is almost over? March is almost over. That's crazy, for one. But I think it's a good thing because the seasons are changing. And it's going to be a little warmer, you understand? It's going to be a little lot warmer. So, give me 1 second. Give me a second. I want to know if I should go and grab the book really quick. Give me 1 second. Stay right there. We're going to grab this. Okay, so I'm back. We were having some technical difficulties. Hey, how you? We were having some technical difficulties, but now we got it. We got it going. We got it brewing. So thank you for that. All right, so plug my microphone back in. Say hi to me when you get here so I can see you. Give me some love. It is free to give me some love, a heart. Okay, so I'm excited. They are in. The books are in. We'll be sending them out. I'm so excited, starting tomorrow. And this is my first time actually seeing the book. So it's exciting. Look at all the authors, all the lovely people on the back of the book, all the authors. Hey, Tremaine, girl. So I'm super excited. So you guys, tomorrow and Friday for the local deliveries, I will be doing them, and the other ones will be being put in the mail all throughout the weekend. So I sent out an email. Some of you guys that didn't have emails attached to it, I sent you a message, but I sent out an email to you guys, let you guys know what the updates are going to be. Hey, David, and the anniversary, you guys, make sure. Can somebody write in the comments? Stephanie usually write it. Can somebody write in the comments the www.Candi Coated Secrets for me so I can pin it so you can purchase your books. You guys will get a signed copy, okay? And the anniversary is right here. Hey, Uncle Steve, the anniversary is here. July 15th, y'all be there or be square. Like I said, this will be the last anniversary, and I'm super excited about that. I'm super excited for you guys to see what you've been a part of for the last, look, I would be dramatic and say decade, but for the last couple of years, I want you guys to see that. So, right, Tremaine girl, you're good at following instructions too. www.candicoatedsecrets.com. Put it down in the comments for me and share the show, you guys, tonight. So tonight I want to get into your perception. Is your perception working for you, or is it working against you? Okay, so I was like, it's placed on me to talk about that because a lot of the times we will do different things and stay in certain situations, circumstances, and we will, most importantly, we will judge. Yes, we will, we the king and queens of judging. We will judge and talk about other people. Hey, Bonita girl. We will judge and talk about other people, or we put labels on things and labels on people. And hey, Victoria. And part of the reason why we're able to do that is because, you don't understand. Usually when someone is judging something or labeling something, it's because they don't understand it. You understand? But I want to know, is your perception working for you, or does your perception work against you? Because when it comes to having your own perception, right, you can have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids all raised in the same house, and every single last one of them will have a different perception and a different story of how they perceived things as they went on in the household or just in their childhood, altogether. So that's why it is also. Thank you, Tremanda girl. Let me pin that. So you guys go there, purchase your copies of the book, purchase your anniversary tickets. I should just hold this on my thing all night. Finally, the book is here. That's why it is important for you to know who you are, because when you know who you are, or you begin to understand and develop who you are, hey Rudolph, you will become, better at knowing what to perceive, how to see things, and you know more about you, right? Because a lot of times people like to tell us about us, right? But when you don't know you will allow somebody else to tell you something about you, and then subconsciously and not knowing it, you will take what they have to say and latch that on to you. And next thing you know, you're trying to figure out why you're thinking and why you're feeling this way, when the whole time it's because somebody else has thrown their own projectional perception onto you, and then you begin to believe that, right? So that's why, a lot of times, like I say all the time, life is one big classroom, and people come to you and come in your life to teach you something. You know what I'm saying? We got the reasons and the seasons and all them kind of people, right? We are well aware of them sometimes, but sometimes people come to your life. Everybody comes in to teach you something. Life is one big classroom, but it's up to you, depending on how much you want to pay attention, how much you're gathering, and just where you are. We change naturally all the time, every 7 years anyway. But when you begin to change, also within that change, your consciousness change, your awareness change, and things like that, you become different. Now, you do have some grown-up children where they just grown and they ain't growing, they ain't changing, or anything like that, right? So when it comes to someone in their perception of you, right, and coming in your path to teach you something. So I'm trying not to take y'all to church, but y'all know how I do. Give me a heart and thumbs up and give me some love, because I want to make a point. And I'm going to use the good book, the Bible, as an example. And hopefully by the end of this, you're able to understand it. Why perception and listening is important when you meet people. And share the show, y'all. Share the show. You can give me some stars, some hearts, do all that. So, the Bible has people in it, right? We know. I know you're like, duh. We have people that are in it. We have who? Matthew, Peter, John, Job, Samson, Delilah, and them. We have all of them people that are in the Bible, right? And when you look at the Bible, what is the Bible? The Bible is a big book of stories and knowledge and wisdom, right? And everyone has a name in there, right? Which is like life, right? You meet somebody, you come across them, everybody has a name, right? And in different chapters, there are stories. A lot of people say, well, I don't read the Bible. I'm just now getting into it and, reading it for myself. Because a lot of times you got to do your own research, okay? So reading it for myself and doing my own research. So the Bible is stories and people in it with stories of knowledge of different things that have happened throughout life and history, and how, using God and faith and strength and words of encouragement to get you through. So I think maybe sometimes if we were to change our perception of the Bible and look at it as a big book of, stories. I don't even want to say fairy tale stories, but a big book of knowledge and stories that are real, that have happened. You too would be able to see yourself in the book, inside of the other people that are in the book, because we all have, times where we second guess ourselves, where we become doubtful, where, our faith isn't where it needs to be, where circumstances seem to be like everything is against you and you can't even figure out how to get through it. So, The Bible is a bunch of stories of people in it with stories and testimonies. And it's just like every day today, walking around when you meeting new people, right? And people coming to you. You ever have somebody tell you a story, they sitting there and they telling you something and you like, oh my God, this sounds familiar, or dang, this sounds like me, or you just listening to them and you begin to gather information so you can say, okay, well, I don't want to make that choice. I don't want to do that. I want to do something differently. Okay. So I believe that if you start to look at the Bible this way, then you'll be able to have an understanding of how you too have to change your perception and how you look at things, right? So, all the different people that are in the Bible, all the names we come across, they tell us stories. We learn about them. For me, for example, I like Job, right? I like Job because I too was Job, right? So, Job lost everything. Job lost his children. Job lost his wife, his job. I mean, everything you could think of. Job lost it. It's the income tax money, the child support return. Like Job lost his house, his shoes, everything, whatever it is, right? And who does that sound like? Me, right? So that's why I love that. Hey, Cynthia. That's why I love it. So, and it may even sound like you know what I mean? Or, Samson, where, the woman cut off his dreads. Okay, she cut off his dreads. He lost all his strength. Sometimes we are attached to men and women, and we are allowing them to be the decision maker, and not only that, being attached and latched onto them, all while they're draining you, and you don't even know that they're draining you. Okay, so I'm just you keeping up. You making sense? You're following me? Give me a heart and a thumbs up, right? So when you look at these things and you begin to understand how you too are a story. Everybody has a story. Your life, your journey, what you're going through, what you may be experiencing, can all the well help somebody else, right? So that's why I wanted to know, like, is your perception working for you or is it working against you? So with me recognizing and realizing that at once upon a time that I was Job, I was able to have a better understanding as to why it's important to have faith and being able to keep up with whatever's going on. When life happens, you have to hold on to something to know that it's going to be better. And even if you aren't a person that picks up, the Bible, even if you aren't reading it, that once upon a time, that was me, right? Just to know that your friends and family and the strangers and the lady at the cash register or the person you may meet on vacation can come to you, or a child may walk up to you, The great thing about God and what he does, he can use anybody to get his point and his message across. He can use anybody to get his message and his point across to you. But you have to see where you are consciously, right? And with your perception and being able to receive the information that's being given to you, So when you hear this and you have people who come along and they tell you a story, sometimes it's to guide you, because nothing is a coincidence. There is no such thing as coincidences. Everything happens the way that it's supposed to happen, okay? So when I realized that, it's like, okay, I too was Job. I lost the job, you know what I mean? I lost the family, I lost the cars, I lost the money, what else? I lost my mind, you understand? The mind is the first thing to go. Usually when you're in the middle of some chaos or some drama or some sadness, your mind is like, peep, you know what I'm saying? You forgetting everything. Now, I don't know about y'all. Maybe I'm the only one that can, that this has happened to. But listen, let me know if you know what I'm talking about, okay? In the middle of chaos, the mind is the first thing to go. You be thinking all kinds of stuff, right? So you have to understand and know yourself and how you learn and what makes you pay attention. See, me, I'm a person, I love stories. So stories, hearing a story, it will inspire me, it will encourage me, and it also will guide me. But you have to know you. So this is why knowing you is so strongly and very important, because other people will be able to come along and tell you who you are, tell you what you're doing, tell you what you thought, tell you what you meant. And I don't know about you, but don't nothing grind my gears more than somebody telling me what I meant, what I'm saying, and most importantly, how I feel. Ooh. Somebody tell me how I feel, I'll be ready to choke them. I swear to you not, I'll be ready to choke them. So this is why you have to know. And oftentimes when you aren't able to change your perception and see anything differently, sometimes you not being able to do that is leaving you stuck in the same situations, predicaments, and circumstances that you keep facing. So sometimes, yes, you haven't learned the lesson. That's why you keep getting the same test. But you also aren't even changing your perception. Or someone comes to you and tell you something about them, and you'll tell them that they're lying, or you'll tell them how they felt or what they meant. And it's like, well, how are you able to tell somebody else about them better than you are able to tell you about you? But also the answer to that is because we are the number one people that are able to point fingers and tell somebody else and see what's going on and what's wrong in somebody else's situation and somebody else's life. And you're able to, because sometimes even though your perception may be a little distorted, you too are a messenger. Okay, you too can be a messenger, be a messenger, and it's always something in it for you because you're able to look at them and you're able to tell them, you know, I think you should get out of this situation. I think you should apply for another job. I think you should stop hooping and hollering. I think you should do this. All the while, your relationship, your job, your household is a circus. But it's easier for you to be able to see what's going on in somebody else's life, and you distracted from your own because you can't see beyond your situation or change your perception long enough to apply to your own situation. But you are always able to change your perception and look and tell somebody else what they shoulda, coulda, woulda, and what they aren't doing. Right? And in those moments when you're able to do that, you have to say, hold up, wait a minute. I'm passing judgment, because if you can't understand why this person is not getting out of the circumstances or making the choices that they are making, you are going to judge them and say they stupid, they dumb, they slow, they're an idiot, they don't know no better. You know what I mean? What else? They was raised by wolves. All these other things and all the other names that we label them. You know what I'm saying? And words. Words, I said all the time, words are just words and people give them power. But you have to understand that sometimes that the person that is on the other end of the words that you're speaking may be battling with some things. And that's why sometimes you can say something that makes somebody want to go ahead and jump out of a window. Or you can say something that's going to lift somebody up, because words has power. They can bring you up and it can bring you down. It can bring you up and it can bring you down. Okay? What you say, Uncle Steve? Being busy in someone else's life. Yeah. So I see that a lot. Like you said, Uncle Steve, you know, we're so busy in other people's lives that you can't even stop and look at your own stuff for 5 seconds. Or when someone comes to you and tell you and they want to speak on your situation or what you should be doing, you get offended and become defensive. But it's because you're not changing your perception. Because in order to be, right, they say a wise person knows when to listen. If you're always doing the talking, if you're always doing all the casting of what's going on, when do you sit and you listen to what's going on with you? When are you ever able to turn your ears off to listen? When do you do that? Only you know when you do that. And if it's never, or you listen when it's convenient, you know what I'm saying? So like this. Let me just tell you how we do. You ever go to church? Or you've ever gone to church in the middle of a storm or middle when you're feeling bad and you're like, oh my God, that message was for me. That service was for me. God was speaking to me. All this, that, and the third is a great thing. And then you have times where you go and you're like, somebody may say, well, how was church? And it's like, it was cool. The message wasn't really for me, but it was cool. I heard what was being said or something like that. Y'all know I ain't lying. Y'all know that's how we be, right? But at the same time, it's like, okay, everything may not always be for you, but everything is always for you, because it may be that time of that Sunday was just a time for you to be able to listen. See, we'll listen to something up into the point of where it starts to conflict with us, right? So even when your friends are talking to you or somebody is giving you some advice, and when you are in agreement with what they're saying, you all ears. You listening, you processing information, you feeling empowered. But the minute they begin to say something, you want to interject and say, wait a minute, hold up, no. Or, the famous line, my situation is different. Or, no, that don't apply to me. And when sometimes it's just best just to be quiet and listen. So when you hear something that conflicts with what you're saying up until that point, we'll turn our ears off. So sometimes when you go and you're in church and you're not able to hear what's going on because you're saying that, oh, it's not for me, you become distracted or get on your phone or you start, just thinking about something else. Your mind begins to wander and all those things. There's nothing completely wrong with that, but I challenge you to say, wait a minute, let me sit and listen and see what's going on, because you could be receiving some information that could help somebody else, right? So your perception is always working for you if you allow your perception to work for you, right? When you in the situation and you see what's going on in the relationship, you know how they have this thing where they're saying, oh, women don't allow men to lead, or the woman doesn't know how, or she don't let me be the man, or she thinks she know everything. But I ask you, well, what is your history of the relationship say? Because I don't have a problem with you leading, but every time I go to allow you to lead, you're a little shaky, or you want me to let you lead them and trust you. See, a lot of times we ask people and expect people to deliver on things that we aren't even able to give and do ourselves, right? So they say, oh, women, I got to be the man. I got to be the man that lead, or I got to be the woman in charge. But it's like, well, what are you being in charge of? Because you want me to trust you. You want me to trust you in all these areas and letting you lead and letting you be this man or letting you be this person that's running the entire household, but your resume is jacked up. You're on one resume, you got 50 jobs, right? So even on that, your resume, your history, you don't listen, you don't come, you haven't came in the house one time, you're hurting my feelings, you creeping with everybody else. Every time I do come to speak to you about something, you telling me it's my fault or everything is a mistake. That's what we talked about today in the group. It's a mistake. So how am I able to trust that if I place this decision or allow you to do this, because every time that I chose to, what they say, submit or follow you, you've led me to nowhere. We always end up at no man's land. You want to flip the income tax money. Now we broke. You understand? You yourself, you know how they say you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it. You can't even lead the horse to the water, which is the first step. But then you get upset and feel like somebody's attacking your manhood because your resume is jacked up. You want me to follow you to do these things and be comfortable and knowing that I can trust you with making a decision. But when it comes to you making a decision that involves my heart, our family, or the household, you keep slipping accidentally into some cuckoo. So how am I able to trust that? Or I tell you ahead of time, hey, this one needs to be picked up. This one needs to go to piano class. This one got soccer. Every time it's your turn to go do them, they late. We paying a fee. You got a reason that come up why you can't do it. And then on top of that, when people begin to express themselves and say, well, you did this and this bothered me, you expected me to get over within 24 hours. So a lot of times it's not that, women and men aren't allowing you to lead, or they don't want you to lead, is that your resume is jacked up. The last time I smiled was on our first date. And then we have this perception where we'll say, well, we will stay into some things because of the family, because of the kids. We want the family, we want the kids and all of that. Cool, right? So you do that, they grow up, you stay in situations and circumstances because you want this whole family dynamic. And then, they're witnessing that y'all fighting and arguing and name calling and treating you any kind of way, or you're noticing that you crying every other day, or that you're lonely, or that, you're on this week and y'all off next week. Okay, it's cool because that's what you want. Your perception is you want your family, because 9 times out of 10, you probably ain't had one growing up yourself, right? But then you become the biggest hypocrite on the planet and then get upset when your kids aren't listening. See, This is why you're always able to look at something for somebody else instead of and not do it for yourself sometimes. And you judging and labeling, because when your kids grow up, you got the nerve to tell them how they should be treated, how they should let somebody treat them, how they should let a woman talk to them, how they should let a man talk to them, what a man should be doing for them, what a woman should be doing. If your girlfriend, what you tell your kids, if your girlfriend is bringing you down, you don't need to be with her. You telling your daughters if he ain't acting right, you don't need to be with him. But at the same time, you are forgetting that this same child witnessed you because you wanted your family with your perception of what's going on, okay? Witness you not even follow anything that you are saying. And then you have a nerve to have an attitude and not like the men and women that they're choosing to be with in their lives. So you don't like who your kids are choosing to be with in their lives, or even your friends who they're choosing to be with in their lives. But when it comes to you, you can't even see that, hey, you in the same boat. Is that making sense? Give me a 100 thumbs up if you here. Okay? So, perception is important. When you change your perception, you change your reality. How you see things, how you feel about things, you expand your consciousness. You begin to understand things more. You begin to put you first. You begin to think about the things that matter in the long run. You have to change your perception of how you look at things. And listen, when someone is coming to you to offer you some advice, you have to first too, what they say, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. Sometimes you gotta look at the person that's telling you what you should be doing. See, a lot of times we're connected to a bunch of people that don't even serve you in the first place, but because of history and the different experiences you've had, you still connected to them. See, a lot of times the friendship died a long time ago, but the history is keeping y'all together. The relationship died a long time ago, but the history is keeping you together. The marriage has died a long time ago, but the history is keeping you together. You see, comfortability. When you become comfortable, you become content. So if you're going to stay in situations or circumstances that don't serve you, you have to first, while you're in it, begin to heal and process while you're in it, so that you too can have a better understanding of how to manage it. Because the one thing that we do is we teach ourselves how to manage in dysfunction and in pain. We create defense mechanisms. We pacify our feelings and our thoughts all the time. All the time. Your perception will lead you everywhere you need to go. Your perception will get you further than anything. So when you even have your friends, right? Imagine this. Everything is a story. Your life is a story. How I see you and the character and the role that you play and the story that you are in my life, I'm going to see you differently from how you see yourself. Someone else is going to see you differently from how you see yourself. But you are the author of your own story, and you can see where everybody is in your life and what role they play, what purpose they serve, what situation is draining you, what friends are no longer good for you, what choices you need to stop making, where you can become better, what needs to change. See, nobody knows you better than you. And sometimes, you have to know, you also have to have somebody, I say this all the time, you have to have somebody too that really know you, with all the pure and love, and they aren't judging you, and they aren't criticizing, but they're not doing anything but trying to help you. Because when you are able to understand how your friends and family, how they learn, how they perceive, what needs to be done to encourage them, to keep them motivated, then you'll begin to handle them with care. See, once you begin to treat people, how you want to be treated. We say that all the time. Oh, you got to treat somebody how you want to be treated. Well, I ask you, how are you treating yourself? Because once you start to treat yourself with care, once you start to love on you more, once you start to get clear decision making, once you start to become well aware of what it is that you truly want for you, you'll be able to handle others in that same way. At the same time, changing your entire reality as to what's going on. Ooh, I think I said enough. What y'all thinking? How we feeling? What we think? When y'all get quiet, I just suck it all in that you're listening. So that's awesome, because I don't want to be a hypocrite saying y'all quiet, but then I'm telling you need to listen. You understand? So that's why you have to pay attention to how you're moving and how you're operating. The conversations that you're having with yourself, the things you're saying in moments when you become discouraged. So like I said about me with Job, the Bible is a big book of knowledge and stories to help us, because we all have experienced something or can relate to someone in that book. It wasn't written for no reason. It's a tool. See, we have so many tools that's out here that can help us, but we don't even want to utilize the tools. Even like I said, even if you don't read the Bible, that's fine. But are you willing to listen to somebody else with some knowledge and some experience or area of expertise? See, some people like to be the know-it-all. And I always say it too, like, if you're the smartest one in the room, that's a problem. That's a problem if you're the smartest one in the room. Sometimes the person that thinks they're the smartest one in the room be the one making all the wrong decisions. Okay? So I strongly, that was placed on me to tell you guys to challenge yourselves and changing your perception and writing it down to find out, is your perception working for you or is it working against you? Because sometimes not being able to see something, not being able to change your perception, is leaving you stuck. Your perception, and if that is happening, then your perception is clogged. Let's see. But need to say, yes, we have to look at ourselves where the problem lies. Exactly. Uncle Steve said, talk. Uncle Steve, you know me. I always say, when they say, well, what you doing? And I say, I'm trying to save the world one person at a time. See, I know you can't save everybody, but you can be of some good to somebody. You can be some good to somebody. And the one thing that I noticed that was going on a lot here recently is a lot of people are feeling the need to prove who they are or who they aren't to people that don't even matter. But the reason why we feel the need to have to prove something to somebody is because you yourself don't feel good enough in the inside. You yourself don't feel good enough in the inside. That's why you feel like you want to prove something. I was watching a cooking show earlier. And a lady said on there, oh, if I win this $25,000, I'm going to be excited because I'll finally prove to my mom and my dad that I am a cook, that I can cook, and that my food is good. And me and somebody else that was watching the show didn't even know, because I wasn't even paying attention, but I was listening to what she was saying, and I said, we both said, he said, well, that's pretty effed up. And I was like, oh, wow. And we looked at each other, and I said, oh, dang, you were thinking the same thing I was thinking. And he was like, yeah. And I said, the fact that she feels that if she wins this contest, then that proves to her family, her parents, that she is a chef and she can cook. She made the right decision. We was like, that's pretty jacked up. And because sometimes we place all of that pressure on ourselves, I said, well, dang, I could only imagine how she would feel if she lost. What she would make that mean. And this was on TV. So, needless to say, she won. And I said, oh, okay. Well, now it makes her feel better. She can say, see, mom and dad, like she said, I can cook and I am a chef and my food is good. Which also, if you're listening to what's being said, her parents have never tasted her cooking. You gotta listen. You gotta hear what people aren't saying. You gotta hear the things that's not being said. So that's why your perception of how you perceive things, how you perceive yourself, what you want for your life, can't nobody else tell you that what you want for yourself is wrong. You are the author of your story. If you don't like the outcome and if you don't like the way that things are going, change the story. Don't allow society to make you think being an individual and not being a follower is a problem, because there's a billion people on this planet. A billion people on this planet. Everybody don't know everybody. It's a billion people on this planet. Billion people on this planet. Everybody ain't got it all together. But there are a lot of people who do. You know, when somebody tells you something that you don't know, or they tell you, so this is another thing. You know, God's given everybody a gift. Whatever your gift is deep down in you. I encourage you to challenge yourself and ask, what is it? We all were born with a purpose, but life derails you and makes you forget it. So you know what your purpose is when you decide to sit down and ask. The ideas you have, the things you do, the things you want to create. We all were born with a purpose. We all were born with a gift, right? So you know how we'll have, you know, here comes the conflict. Because we'll say everybody has a gift. And even the word says everybody has a gift. But then you ever notice how people who feel like tarot card reading or psychics is evil and it's bad? You know what I'm saying? Feel like it's evil and it's bad, especially the older generation. They feel like it's voodoo and all that other stuff. I too like to think that sometimes it's because they forget. So you can't tell me that, you know, I was given a gift and that there were even prophets and Jesus was a prophet as well and could tell somebody what's going on and tell you about your life and all this other stuff. But if somebody that's not in that same, you know, genre, it's evil or it's witchcraft or it's voodoo, I always say you gotta pick one, because at the same time, he gave everybody a gift. We all have a spiritual gift. You may not know how to tap into it and operate it. Some people may not use it properly, but we all have a gift. So that's another thing. When people say, oh, the tarot reading, oh, I don't fool around with that stuff. Be it as it may, you may not. But what do you say when the pastor prophesies over your life? What do you say when a stranger is able to come and tell you everything that's going on with you? What do you say? How are you perceiving that? A lot of times, our mind and our hearts aren't as open as they should be. Which is understandable, because every time, sometimes you open your heart, you get it broken or you get let down. But you have to change that too and say, what do I need to learn so that I don't have to keep feeling these feelings? And I guarantee you the answer is you need to learn to love you and be okay with you no matter what the outcome is. If you don't want to be with somebody that's talking to you any kind of way, then don't be with somebody that's talking to you any kind of way, but you're okay with it sometimes. You pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. You got to pick a struggle. You got to know what you want. Your perception of what's going on, what's trying to be shown to you. And once you're able to change that, I promise you, you'll be able to change every single thing. Yet people who don't know us the most, if that made sense. It does. I said that earlier. That you'll be surprised how much somebody else know you more than you know you. I said that earlier. That's why we can't care about what they're saying. You can't care about how they feel. You can't care about what they're thinking. You have to get you and your perception together. You have to know what's holding you back. You have to know how you learn. What encourages you? What picks you up? What you need to do when you aren't feeling your best? You have to know that and stop making excuses. We have to stop making excuses. So again, is your perception working for you or is it working against you? Is it working for you or is it working against you? Because changing your perception, you will change your life. And when you're able to do that, you become unstoppable. Like I said, society, if you look around today, is a million followers. It's a million followers, and the individuals begin to feel like they aren't normal. You have individuals that are starting to feel like they aren't normal. That they aren't normal. Why? That's a problem. There's nothing wrong with being an individual. If you're different, it's good. You were made different. We were all made different. We were all made differently. We all have different fingerprints. If we were all meant to be the same, could you imagine how boring the world would be? Not you chewing on this treat like this. Y'all, he get his little treat and he want to come. See, this is the thing. I'm sorry, y'all, commercial. And he want to get his little treat and he want to come straight beside me under the microphone and chew. You was just over there humping on the bear, Mrs. Snuffleupagus. Sorry. Great Steve, Uncle Steve, great show. Thank you, Uncle Steve. You know, you feel like they learned something. You know, and that's another thing. I love learning something new every day. I make it a goal of mine. But on the other side of that, you know, just change your perception of how you see things, how you're looking at it, what you want to take from it. You know, stop judging and labeling people because that's just a sign that you don't understand. You don't understand. When you labeling and you judging, it's because you don't understand. Ask the questions. And sometimes too, for y'all too, on the other side of that, when somebody is asking you a question about what you're telling them, don't be defensive and don't get offended. Please stop that. Can we stop that? Because sometimes people are asking you so that they can understand. Sometimes there's things that's going on where you're like, I don't understand it. So help me to understand it. And then there's some things you're just not going to understand when it comes to certain people's situations. But I say the same advice that you would give to your children, to your friends, to your mother. Take that same advice and apply it to yourself. You got to know that there's better and you got to want more for yourself. Changing your perception will change everything you need to know. And start meditating, y'all. You got to meditate too. Meditate before you start your day. What I say? Meditation today keeps the haters away. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Like I said, books are going out. Excited. You'll be getting your deliveries, your local deliveries, starting tomorrow. And everything else will be being mailed out to those, you know. And if you didn't get to catch the show tonight, or if you're watching the show after it is over, make sure you type replay in the comments. And, you know, do some research. You know. Let me hold your hand through the process. And you know I ain't judging. My life was jacked up too once upon a time. I will see you guys next week. Bye.